This is Dr. Leon Klempner of People in Practice. He helps orthodontic practices market their businesses. And I'm just going to ask him some really great marketing questions because that seems to be top of mind for a lot of our customers and a lot of practices overall, the industry. So the first question is, well, years ago, you wrote an article entitled "Wave Goodbye to the Good Old Days" in Orthodontic Products magazine, and much of what you said came true. What are you seeing for the specialty of orthodontics in the next 5 years? And I love this so much.
That's a great question. And you know, I have always focused on the next 5 years. Even when I was practicing orthodontics, I always tried to position my practice for the next 5 years, which is why, you know, I was an early adopter with all the different technologies when I first started in my practice. But I wrote the article because I saw the handwriting on the wall 5, 10 years ago. I saw that the general dentist was no longer going to be the sole or the primary force in terms of new patient acquisition. And there were a lot of reasons for that. And frankly, for the past 50 years, at least up until maybe 5, 10 years ago, things were pretty stable in terms of referral patterns. And it was a business to business model. We kept the GPs happy. They opened up the faucet. They sent us patients. That's really all we had to do in terms of marketing. So whether it be bagels or calls or out to dinner or whatever it would be, that was it. It was a doctor-centric framework, which really left out the most important elements of what consumers were looking for. And then we had what I would call a perfect storm. And the internet became more and more utilized by new patients in terms of information before making major purchases. So new patients were empowered. So now even if a dentist sent a new patient, they would go ahead and do their research online anyway and make their own decision as to where they're going. So the GPs began losing a little bit of authority there. They also started doing aligners. Companies like in Align Technology began heavily marketing to GPs. So now they were becoming somewhat of our competition. We began to see direct-to-consumer companies pop up, Big Purple being a big one. And all of this put some downward pressure on fees. And coupled with all of that, which I call it the perfect storm, is we have, you know, a plethora of ortho graduates. I teach at Harvard, and you know, these graduates have to find a place, and it's not that easy to do anymore. The whole model of associateship leading to partnership really isn't panning out because most practices can't afford to absorb a full-time orthodontist. So these residents are coming out with high debt and not a lot of places to go. So that model began to change. Where I see it moving is in a number of different tiers. I'm really seeing some very defined lanes that orthodontic practices fit into and will be fitting into. And I think it's really important to know your brand and your audience, because marketing dollars need to be utilized in a very strategic manner moving forward. And the 4 tiers basically are a level one, and there's no judgment on any of these. I just put them in order here, but there's no judgment. There's the managed care model, which is basically the insurance sign up for as many plans as possible, accept a discounted fee, and the insurance company sends your patients. It's basically still a business to business model, but it really doesn't require marketing, because all you need to do is really get on as many plans as possible, high volume, in and out, and it's an effective model. And then there's the second model, which is the DSO or the corporate model, which now has to, which sees their audience based on cost and convenience. So you want to get your kids' braces on Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. You know, there may be a DSO open that can do that. Then there's the traditional orthodontic practice. This is the one I think that is in the most jeopardy and what we're seeing market share chip away from. And they need to really find what their differentiator is. And then they need to really invest in some heavy marketing, digital marketing, because otherwise they just become commoditized and really don't have an audience. And the fourth is the boutique, or what I would call the superstar practice, highly personalized, individualized, totally fee for service. This is one where the doctor gives everybody their cell phone. This is one where, attorney has a big case on Monday. They come in the morning, you take off their appliances, you put them back on later on, you charge accordingly, and they're happy to pay for it. The traditional model falling in between the DSO and the boutique, that's the one that really needs to define what their differentiator is and to market for it. So there's a place for it, but not if they're going to be a bread and butter, just orthodontic practice. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely, and that actually is so true about the way that that practice is marketed before. So I once spoke to an 85-year-old dentist, and I went in there to talk to him about marketing, and he looked at me like I was crazy. He was
Yeah.
like, "We don't," he said, when we first started practicing, it was looked down on to market your practice, and so yeah, he had no idea what SEO was or what any of the things that I was really talking to him about. It was kind of funny. But that's amazing. I mean, the evolution is just incredible. And it's just going to go beyond. It's going to be great.
And we're not used to it as orthodontists. We're not used to
Right.
this type of change.
Yeah.
We're used to the thing being the same way. It worked before. And there are a lot of practices that are quote unquote leveled off, which to me, it means they're on the decline.
Right.
If they're not growing, you're shrinking.
Yeah.
That feel that they just pedal a little bit harder. Okay, I got to take the dentist out more often. I got to,
Right.
send more dinners, and it
Right.
doesn't work anymore.
Right.
And I speak to orthos, every day, and they come along and they hire us begrudgingly. I don't want to do this. I don't really like this. I'm not comfortable with this, but I know I need to do this if I want to stay in practice. And there's
Exactly.
truth to that.
Exactly. Well, that's so we've heard you speak about the importance of the production funnel. And can you explain this part? So I think that goes hand in hand with what you were just mentioning.
Yeah, it does. Because the digital footprint is so important now for the orthodontist in terms of new patient acquisition. And I'm speaking to the choir here with SmileSnap. But it used to be that orthodontists look at their website and it was served more as a calling card, meaning
Right.
that people go there, they get your name, address, your location, your telephone number, that type of thing. And if you look at your website through that lens, you're missing a huge opportunity, because we feel at People in Practice very strongly that the website is designed for one purpose, and that is to acquire new patients. That's the only reason we see to have a website. And as a result, you need a conversion tool. So there are three essential components of what we call the production funnel. First of all, you need an optimized website. When I say optimized, I mean that the website really needs to tell a story and lead the new patient down a path to a call to action. A call to action is what connects the practice to the new patient. SmileSnap is a platform that is a call to action. So you need the optimized website leading to the call to action, and then you need to feed that funnel with digital marketing. It's a numbers game. The more people you send to the website, the more people are going to click on the call to action, the SmileSnap widget, and the more opportunities you have for new patients. So, the whole concept of the website design has to look at it not only through a UI, but a UX as well. And for your listeners, that means user experience. We need to deliver to the patient what they're looking for. So as marketers, what we do is we'll put out the feed, so to speak, early treatment, adult treatment, whatever the practice is looking to increase. And then we want to lead that patient from the social marketing, whether it be a Facebook ad or wherever we're marketing to, and we want to drop them off on the website. And we want to drop them off in a place where they can get the information they need. So if they're looking for early treatment, we don't want to drop them off somewhere that talks a lot about adult treatment. We want to drop them off where the practice talks about how they have expertise in early treatment. But so we want to give them the content that they're looking for. That's key. But then there has to be the call to action. You can't, in my opinion, you can't effectively market any practice without having a new patient acquisition widget on your website in order to engage an entirely new demographic of new patients that consists of millennials and Gen Z. So you need to have the website, you need to have the call to action, and you need to feed the funnel with digital marketing.
Absolutely. And actually, I wanted to expand on that, especially when it comes to SmileSnap. So what are your recommendations for customers of SmileSnap who have the widget? What ways would you direct them to virtual consults, the patients, in terms of marketing?
Well, I mean, having the widget doesn't do you any good if nobody's going to it.
Right.
That's the whole key. So, I mean, you can have the most beautifully designed website that is optimized for conversion with the most sophisticated patient capture tool like SmileSnap. But if you're waiting for somebody to find it, you're missing a huge opportunity because it's a numbers game. So the key is driving patients to the website where they can engage with the practice with a conversion tool like SmileSnap, which allows millennials and Gen Z to communicate with the practice in a way that they're used to communicating with them, with others with. It's not baby boomers anymore. New patients are no longer have the time and energy, or I'll say many new patients, particularly the demographic we're targeting, to engage with the practice via a phone call or a web form, and then sit in the parking lot until you call them in, come in, wait in the waiting room, meet with the TC, spend an hour just to find out, am I an aligner candidate? Yes or no? Is it going to cost me $6,000 or is it going to cost me $4,000? Can I afford this or can I not afford this? That's what they want to know. And, I have granddaughters, and my partner, Amy, has 2 kids. And, you would think that we work together and we communicate all the time. We have Slack and we have all these sophisticated tools. I can't get a hold of her. She's busy during the day. Come 5 o'clock, forget about it. The witching hour begins. It takes 3 hours for them to get their kids, fed and bathed and into bed. And, by 9 o'clock, if it was me, I'd be drinking a glass of wine and not want to talk to anybody. But that's when she sits down, and that's when I hear from her. That's when we talk about clients. That's when we engage. And that's when millennials do their research. They'll go online. It might be 11 o'clock, it might be 12 o'clock, it might be 1 o'clock. It's when the kids are sleeping and they have an opportunity to take a breather and to do their research. So if you don't have a conversion tool like SmileSnap, then how are they communicating? How are they going to connect with you? It's not going to be through the phone call. So you'll lose a lot of patients that way.
And further than that, I mean, having a tool like SmileSnap where they can actually communicate with you and get that feedback instantaneously is a huge opportunity for practices too. So they don't have to wait 2 to 3 days to talk to the doctor. They can do it within a couple hours. A lot of our practices, basically respond within a couple hours, and obviously that increases the opportunity for them. So,
And that's a great point, and
yeah,
that's something we hammer with our clients, that issue all of the time. You can't let these digital leads go stale,
right.
because they need an answer. So you need to respond quickly, and this is a challenge for a lot of busy practices, and I get
Mhm.
it. The
Yeah,
TCs are busy, and they should be spending their time with whoever's sitting in front of them. But this isn't something that you just run a spreadsheet and then once a month or twice a month you go back and contact these people, because they've forgotten that you've even existed by that
yeah,
time. And then the conclusion that the practice comes to is that the digital marketing or the virtual platform like SmileSnap is no good.
right.
They give us bad leads.
Yeah,
These leads aren't good because they don't convert to consultation. And the truth of the matter is that that's not where the ball is dropped. The
yeah,
ball is dropped with the practice. It's funny, this topic is very important to us at People in Practice. And in Q3 of this year, we're planning on rolling out a virtual new patient nurturing service where we'll actually take those online leads and respond to them quickly on behalf of the practice,
right.
and nurture those leads to bring them in for a consultation, because we get it. The practices are busy, and TCs have a hard time juggling what's in front of them and what's coming through on a text or on a new patient platform.
Absolutely. That's key. The follow up is absolutely key. I wanted to ask you, People in Practice manages the digital marketing for orthodontists all over the US and Canada. Can you review the essential components of an effective marketing plan?
Yeah, sure. I mean, right up my alley. Thank
I
you.
know, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah. That's like a softball.
I know it is, right?
I appreciate that for sure. All right, I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but let's break it down simply. Um, so I would say there are 5 essential components, or maybe 6. Number 1, reputation management. Okay, any digital marketing campaign will get short-circuited if you get bad reviews. So you need to manage your reputation. You need to work at getting positive reviews and getting enough of them so that when the inevitable negative review comes your way, it's not a big deal. If you have 2 or 3 5-star reviews and you get a negative review, that's enough to cause pause to a new patient in terms of calling your office. But if you have 80, 90, 100, 120 5-star Google reviews, and you get a couple of 1-star reviews, most new patients will look at that as um, just being the fact that you can't please everyone, and not a big deal. So you've got to manage your reputation. People in Practice, if I can plug it, we have a smart review system that automates all of this. Helps catch the negative ones, helps manage the reputation. So, but there are a lot of good ones out there, but you need to manage your reputation. Number 2, social news feeds. Most orthodontists understand that Facebook and Instagram are where your new patients are. So you need to be there, and you need to be posting granular posts. What does that mean? That means you can't outsource it to anyone to provide interesting posts. You need to do something with your own practice in order to serve up content that people would be interested in. So with our clients, for example, we'll partner with somebody on the ground that will feed us photos, band removals with the doctor, anniversary of the receptionist, CPR course, doctor taking, an advanced Invisalign course or a sleep course. And then we could broadcast it out, but we need to get that information. So you need a good social feed, and you should have a monthly schedule. We help our practices, and we develop a monthly schedule for them, and help fill in the blanks. but you can't just go off the cuff. So you have reputation management, number one. You have social news feeds, number two. Number three, lead generation. Where's the opportunity on Facebook? It's not with the fans. This is a big misconception that orthodontists have. It's not with the fans that are connected to you. A lot of orthodontists say, wow, I've got 2,000 fans. I really got this covered. That's not where the opportunities for new patient acquisition are. The opportunities for new patient acquisition is with the 2, 3, or 400 friends of each one of those Facebook fans. People that live in a geo-fenced location within 5 miles of the practice that are already friends with one of your patients, so that when one of your patients posts your brand and your logo on their personal Facebook page to their friends, that's almost the equivalent of a personal recommendation. So, and running, this is done with a variety of different techniques. I don't have time to go into it, but it's very important, and it's another source of new patient acquisition. Targeted digital ads, number 4. Facebook and Instagram allow us to buy a market of people that we can provide educational information to. When's the best time? What is early treatment? How do the aligners work? Am I a good aligner candidate? A lot of different ways, including brand awareness for the practice, as well as improving Google search visibility. So you have reputation, social feed, social engagement, targeted digital ads, and then lead nurturing. Lead nurturing means we collect emails of patients non-patients that are friends of current patients that have entered contests or a variety of different things that we run. And then we run drip campaigns, either email or text periodically, letting them know who won the last contest, what the next contest is, what courses have been taken. We want them connected with the practice, even though they may not be ready for treatment at this particular time. We want them feeling that they're already part of the practice. So those are the essential 5. In addition, you need an optimized website, as we talked about before, and you need a tool like SmileSnap on your website in order to convert.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally, I agree.
I'm glad.
We don't have a lot of time, but I wonder, this is an interesting thing to me, is the new Apple release. Did you hear about this, where Apple's new release is going to block Facebook ads from targeting specific iPhone users? I haven't looked too far into that, but I think that's going to be a challenge in the future. And I didn't know if you had any more insight into that. I know it's kind of I know we didn't really talk about that, but I mean, it's really interesting. And I think some people might be concerned about it.
Yeah, we watched that, and we certainly, the whole area of social media is a hot topic.
Right.
And it's one that is an area that we understand that many of our clients are uncomfortable with.
Right.
We Facebook and social media sites in general collect a lot of personal data.
Mm-hmm.
And as a marketer, it's really useful,
right,
for us.
Right. We like it. We're fans, but
Yeah,
but as consumers, we're not. So it's it's a complicated thing.
Exactly. So it's a real fine line. But it's hard for me to believe that there's anything that's going to get in the way where big money is involved this way.
Yeah.
You're talking about a lot of advertising dollars on digital marketing. So somehow, it's interesting to watch, but it's not time to give up the ship.
No, Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg need to just get along for the sake of all of us.
They'll work it out.
Yeah, they'll have dinner and they'll be pals. We don't have much time, so I was hoping if there was anything else you wanted to share, on your own. We do have, I guess we've already talked about virtual consultations and the marketing strategy. I guess, this is an easy one. What percentage of the marketing of the revenue should be allocated to marketing? And I'm curious, specific to startup versus established practices.
Yeah, that's a tough question. How much
Yeah.
time we have?
I know, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if you could just give like a
One,
percentage.
one
No,
minute?
I don't have to cut it off, so you have plenty of time. But I know that practices really want to know this because I
Yeah,
don't think they really know how much they should be spending.
yeah, yep. Well, as you mentioned, it's different depending on the individual practice, and it's different depending on the local market competition. These
Right.
are areas that influence the amount that needs to be spent. In our industry, in orthodontics, our cottage little industry, we're used to spending nothing.
Right.
We don't see, this was never part of the spreadsheet of expenses. So anything that we spend is like a lot of money to most orthodontists. But most business consultants will tell you that 5 to 10% of collections, which would be $5,000 to $6,000 a month per million of collection, is the average. And with our data, when we look at most of our clients, they're spending maybe half of that with an effective targeted campaign. But that'll give you kind of an idea. And it's important to note what the return on investment is. Because in orthodontics, the return on investment is very, very high. It doesn't take a lot to recoup your investment when it comes to digital marketing. So for example, let's say a total spend of $3,000 a month on marketing. If you capture 3 new patient starts, let's say, in that month, that's somewhere between 300 and 400% ROI.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you get 300 or 400% ROI.
Right.
So it's a funny topic to discuss with orthodontists because they're used to spending nothing, but those days are gone.
Mhm.
The practices that are thriving are the practices that understand the marketplace. They understand their target audience. Remember, we talked about the different levels and the different lanes of different practices. So, for example, the boutique practice, for example, they can't market on discounted fees
Right.
because it makes no sense.
Right.
And the DSO can't market on highly personalized, individualized care
Service. Hmm.
because it makes no sense. So more important than even the amount of spend is how you spend it and the target audience that you need to reach, and understanding your brand, where it fits in terms of the marketplace, and distinguishing your practice as different from other practices and hammering on that and getting people to understand that and attracting them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was really good. That was only 2 minutes over.
Not bad.
You did great. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today. I hope everyone was able to grab some important tidbits of marketing knowledge from you. I know I have, and it's really great to talk to about marketing with you. So, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and anybody has any follow-up questions at all, feel free to reach out. It's
Yeah,
leon@pplpractice.com. That's my email address. So, I'll be more than happy to personally answer anybody's question or anything that I might have discussed, or even things that I haven't discussed.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, good
All
seeing
right,
you.
you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.